Hello Dinerates, welcome back to Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict, and today I want to be talking about the mythic pets, both in Nyxarchon and also Aegiswing, which ones are better, or which one is better in this case, and which one you should be prioritizing based on your class and your playstyle. Before we go into this, leave a like, subscribe, and make the channel. And let's directly jump into this. There is a few things to note about pets first. So, first of all mythic pets, immortal pets, whatever rarity they are, because I always forget, okay? Every single mythic pet is good. They are the best pets in the game for a reason, right? So, whatever you pick, don't feel bad and don't be like, oh, I should have picked Nyxarchon or Aegiswing, or no, it's fine. So, whoever you pick, it's gonna be carrying you, no problem. That's the first thing. The second, you will need the dupe of each one in order to evolve them, because to evolve a pet, they need to be level 100, your account level 100, right? And then you will also be needed to get in their skill to mythic. And to get it to mythic, if I go into my character page right here, and we go into enhance, you need 120 shards. To get 120 shards, one dupe is enough. When I get 60 crystals and I exchange for a different one, it's gonna give me 120. So only one dupe required in order to evolve them. Long term, you want to be getting every single mythic pet, obviously, right? But initially, I would focus on one and then get the other one after you grab the extra dupe. And then, also, before we talk about these two pets, there will be a third one in the future. If I go here, we go into Phantom Mons. There is two pets, we do not have three actually. There is Somosuke for the collab, we ignore him. There is the Cabbage Dog. Don't ask me where this pet is, I have no idea, but it's funny. He's not mythic, so ignore him. And then the other mythical pet we are gonna be getting is Pandarial. It's this guy right here, this little panda. Pretty cute, okay? Pretty cute guy. And then when he evolves, instead, he's gonna be becoming a big-ass panda, which is pretty funny, honestly. All right, so he is the healer pet, because right now we have the tank, the DPS, and then he will be the support pet. So if you prefer to be saving for him, go to the website, check his skill, see if it's worth saving. We will be getting Pandarial by the end of Season 2, which should be in 2 months, give or take, right? So if you prefer a healing or a healer pet, then save for him. If you prefer one of the current ones and you don't want to be saving, which one should I be picking, Sefhi, based on my class, right? So, if you are a solo player, you don't care about co-op, you don't care about dungeons, you don't care about maximizing the Crucible of Hieromonk, you do not care about the weekly events, you do not care about doing PvP on co-op or anything like that, I will suggest you actually go pick Aegiswing, because he will help you push content a lot more. This is a pet that on its own will be giving you a second life, reducing the damage of the enemies and increasing your own damage. It's a pretty good pet and also has a huge heal. We'll talk about this heal in a second, right? So if you are a solo player and you don't care about co-op content, right, for most classes, Aegiswing is the pet to go. However, if you are playing in groups, I will say for a Sage, Duelist, and a Sorcerer, the pet to go is gonna be Nyxarchon. This is the best pet by far in terms of pure damage output. It's crazy how much damage it can provide on its own. So let's talk about why in both of them. Once again, solo player, you like playing on your own, challenging content and really big combat power deficit gaps, Aegiswing is going to be the pick to go for. If you like to play in groups, or you are just a DPS itself and want more damage while keeping alive with specific charms and gear, Nyxarchon is the way to go. Now, what does each of these guys do? Let's start with Nyxarchon, since this is the DPS pet and the one I'm using myself. On his base baby version, he has a Requiem Blast. When the damaging technique is used on enemies, deals dark damage once to one of targets and all enemies 2 grids around. Really big AoE. Also inflicts 10% defense reduction up to 3 stacks for 2 turns, and this can proc twice every 2 turns. Now, this is a huge AoE, like really big AoE. We go into Monster Group 2, Unlimited, extremely low HP, and we guys go here. That big dark AoE, that's Nyxarchon, and it's a huge amount of damage. Now, to illustrate how much extra damage you can be doing with a pet like this, right? This is 646 million damage. If we go into the numbers, you guys will see that my spells are doing 100, 50, 80, 70, my passive 136, Unstable Aura doing 91. My Phantom is doing 97 million only with Requiem Blast not being on his adult form. His adult form is only going to increase her damage output even more. So if you're a DPS and you're playing in groups, there is no reason to not go with Nyxarchon, because the damage he provides is disgusting. Also, for elemental content, this testing ground is pretty bad, so you can even get more damage than what we are showing here. All right, this little guy has a lot of damage for DPS builds and also for sorcerers, sorry, for sages, because remember that sages scale with direct damage as well, so you can even get more damage on a sage. So if you care about damage, Nyxarchon is the way to go. Now, if you care about having a second chance, or maybe you are a tank who wants even more survivability, or you are playing in groups and you want to make sure you are not dying to be able to keep helping your team, right? And you don't want to depend on a healer, Aegiswing is a really good choice. Aegiswing has a Radiant Sanctuary. At the start of the battle, grants the character Guardian Angel for 3 turns. When this expires, restores 50% of the lost HP and grants them Power and Seal, which is going to be increasing your accuracy and crit rate, right? Pretty good. Now, Guardian Angel, when taking fatal damage, preserves 1 HP. This statue expires and it cannot be dispelled, right? So when it is activated, you lose this Guardian Angel, but this is a second life, healing you 50% of your max HP. This is really strong, guys. Like I said earlier though, if you are a DPS and you already have like a tank in your party that can sustain himself, this is kind of useless in most situations. Obviously, as we unlock harder content, I can see situations where even as a DPS, you want to be bringing Aegiswing, but in the most content, you're going to be bringing this little guy. For tanks, fantastic. Even for supports, for healers that want to make sure they can stay alive to keep helping the team. And for people who have a more support or buffer oriented build, he is really good. Now, when it comes to their adult forms, like I said earlier, you will need 120 shards, which is 1 extra adult. They are both going even further into the roles, right? So if you get an Nyxarchon, he becomes a huge damage dealer on his own, having Shadow Sweep, dealing even more direct damage on a 3x2 grid, and then having Nightshade Blast that will deal direct damage, and the more HP the enemy loses, the more damage it does, up to a 50% increase. And this skill cooldown resets upon materialization. Materialization is when you summon the pet. So this is going to become one of the strongest, if not the strongest, damage dealing pet for years, because there is nothing else at the moment that they have released that can catch up to him. And this applies also to free-to-plays. Free-to-plays could be focusing on some of the lower rarity pets, but for the most part, the mythic ones are always going to outperform, regardless of, you know, how much you spend. And then he gets a second passive, which basically will make it so when you kill an enemy, it deals direct damage to everyone around it, right? To all enemies within 2 grids of that target. So even more damage. Again, pure DPS-oriented build. And then Aegiswing will be transformed into a pretty solid tank on his own, right? He will be like, hey, I'm taunting everyone. He will go do light damage, have a 50% base chance of taunting enemies for 2 turns. He will also be providing enemies with retribution, which makes it so they have reduced accuracy and crit rate. Really good, right? So she's going to be debuffing the enemies, making sure they are taunted so she can take some of the damage, and reducing the damage taken from these taunted enemies. Now, as a pet, obviously, it will be a lot easier to get killed, even like that. But that's why, you know, a lot of the DPSs will prefer to go with something like this. But it still can help a lot while you are pushing content. Have someone else who can take the aggro, take that damage, and still provide with debuffs and buffs for herself. So, a pretty good pet. Like I said earlier, both of them will be working, or you could be waiting instead for the healing pet coming in the future, which is going to be Pandarial. And as you guys can see, his normal passive as a baby at the start of the battle reduces the cooldown of all techniques by 1 turn for the character and grants you a damage boost for the entire battle. Huge! Reducing the cooldown of all techniques and also granting you a damage boost. That is huge. And when he's an adult, instead he gets Bamboo Gale, which deals physical damage. So for sorcerers and sages might be not as good to scale, but still for the utility can be used. Also Burden Spikes, which selects a target within 4 grids of the caster and deals even more physical damage with the 100% base chance to inflict fragility for 1 turn. And then the other passive, which is a fantastic utility, heals allies within 4 grids of the caster once a turn starts. If an ally is within multiple Emerald Dew ranges from Pandarial, only the newest one effect applies, so you can only apply 1 of them, but still he's going to be providing with damage over time for everyone on the team, while also having good utility. My plan personally is that I'm going to be getting 1 more copy of Nyxarchon, and then I will start saving crystals, probably for this little guy, because I like him and I think his utility, personally, for how I play the game, is gonna be better than Aegiswing. I would love to get all of them in the future, but it's gonna take time. Even for light spenders, it will take time, because again, 60 crystals, and you need 120 crystals per pet. For Nyxarchon, 120, for Aegiswing 120, and for Pandarial in the future, another 120. So it will take time. No rush on this system, boys. This is simply to tell you which ones, based on your situation and playstyles, are gonna be better. That said, that's everything for this video. As usual, you guys have the links in the description for all of the guides. We are live every single day. Good luck with your pool, the internet, and I'll see you in the next one.